Nigerians have endured terrorist attacks for more than a decade, with significant loss of human lives and utter destruction of properties. Most of these bombings have been attributed to Boko Haram insurgents. However, on November 26, 2021, a federal high court in Abuja ruled that the activities of bandits, as well as other similar groups in any part of the country, amounts to acts of terrorism, and the federal government subsequently declared bandits terrorists.
The proposed amendment, no doubt.
On April 27, 2022, the Senate passed a bill seeking to amend the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013. The House of Representatives followed suit on May 4th. The amendment seeks to outlaw the collection of ransom by abductors for the release of victims. Funds, federal lawmakers say, is often channeled towards terrorist acts.
The proposed amendment, no doubt, will set standards and regulatory system intended to prevent terrorist groups from laundering money through the banking system and other financial networks.
Although one of the aims of amending the Terrorism Prevention Act is to prohibit the payment and receipt of ransom to release kidnapped victims, the bill is silent specifically on penalties for those who pay ransom for the release of victims.
In the clean copy that we have now, before it goes back to the House for the final debate, I don't see any mention of ransom. Because you will not tell me that payment of ransom is what the victims of a kidnap desire. No, they desire that the security forces will go into that bush and bring back their family members, their friends. So for a man to pay ransom, for a woman to pay ransom, is indicative of the failure of security.
Section 14 of the bill states that any person who arranges and participates in an activity connected with a terrorist group, collects or provides logistics or information connected with an act of terrorism, solicits or renders support for a terrorist group or an act of terrorism, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term of not less than 20 years.
When you make provisions to ask that those who assist by one way or make provision or help the terrorist or a kidnapper will be punished for not less than 20 years or 15 years, and you don't clearly state what you meant by assistance, then you leave that ambiguity for those who enforce the law to even abuse it.
The federal government, as well as some state governments and the legislature, have over the years put together some counter-terrorism measures. However, security experts suggest some other ways to fight terrorism.
If a government is not accountable to the people, does not show justice, there is no equality, there is no equity of the Commonwealth, destroy of the Commonwealth, then you lack the moral right to want to protect or defend or punish people who do crime.
For security experts, eliminating terrorism is a long-term mission which must be undertaken by government at all levels, with the active participation of citizens through diverse multi-sectoral approaches. Linda Akibi, Channels Television News.
To discuss more on this, security risk management consultant Mr. Don Okereke joins us live on the news at 10. A pleasure having you with us, Mr. Okereke.
Good evening, Melinda.
Now, from the background report we just saw, there appears to be some loopholes as observed by some of the consultants we interviewed there. No mention of payment of ransom or even penalties for the payment of ransom in the amended Terrorism Prevention Act. So what are your thoughts on the intention of the National Assembly to criminalize the payment of ransom?
Well, without mincing words, I will tell you, Melinda, that if eventually passed into law, this will not hold water. With due respect to the Senate, I think it will be a paper tiger law.
Why do you say so?
I say so because more often than not, kidnapping and crime generally are underreported in Nigeria. That is number one. Number two, according to statistics, more than 2,371 persons were kidnapped in Nigeria in the first 6 months of 2021, and 10 billion ransom were reportedly paid, according to research by SBM Intelligence. That tells you how pervasive this thing is. And that tells you, also the same research also says that 237 people lost their lives during such kidnapping incidents. That tells you that if a delay or anything happens, the kidnappers are likely to kill their victims.
But do you think that intermediaries between terrorists and government should also be penalized for the role they play, which sometimes can be interpreted as encouraging crime?
Well, it depends how you look at it. Nobody is supporting payment of ransom per se. Okay. It's not like we are justifying it. But there are extenuating circumstances which make people to pay such ransom. Just like I explained, the risk involved, makes people to rush to pay the ransom. Because more often than not, if such ransoms are not paid, it's likely that the victims will be killed.
But in other cases, Mr. Okereke, if I may, in other cases, the ransom is paid and the victims are also executed.
Yeah, but that is not the norm. More often than not, they need the money, not not to kill the victims. Like I give you an instance. During the Kaduna Abuja train bombing incident, we understand one of the directors of the bank or some bank of agriculture also reportedly paid ransom before he was released. And 1 month into that kidnapping incident, most of the victims are still being held. That poses the question, where are these people being kept? Are there ungoverned territories in this country? What are the security agencies doing? Of course, they are doing a lot, but they cannot be everywhere at the same time. In my neck of the woods, I understand there were some kidnapping incidents that didn't make it to the national dailies or headlines. The statistics I gave you are just number of recorded or reported incidents. More often than not, these things are not reported. People go behind the scene and pay ransoms and secure release of their family members or loved ones.
Security Risk Management Consultant, Mr. Don Okereke, a pleasure sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much, Melinda. Thank you.